Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Bold and the Beautiful recap. Hope questions Brooke's devotion to Ridge. Hope and Brooke are at the Logan mansion. Brooke tells her daughter to hang in and give the situation time. She promises to ask Ridge to make things better. Hope can't imagine Ridge will ever do anything to help her out. Brooke counters that Steffi respects Ridge's opinion and Hope doesn't. She is also getting very tired of deferring to Ridge in all ways. Further, Hope understands why her mother constantly defers to Ridge, but is growing tired of the situation herself. She doesn't understand why her mother doesn't think she is enough, and continues to look to Ridge for some sort of approval. What did you think of today's episode? Sound off in the comments. Watch the video clip below, and keep checking back for the latest The Bold and the Beautiful recaps. The Bold and the Beautiful recap. Hope for the future is up for elimination. The Forrester Muckety Mucks have gathered in the main office to discuss the failing state of Hope for the future. Hope thinks Steffi has been eagerly awaiting this very day, but Ridge says none of what they are saying is personal. Brooke disagrees, saying the fashion line is a part of Hope's identity. Finn and Taylor are sitting in the corner. Why? When he asks if they should leave, Steffi tells them to stay as they should hear what she has to say. Again, why? Carter says the numbers for Hope for the future aren't good. Brooke asks Ridge what he thinks when Steffi interrupts, saying it's her call. Also, isn't Brooke co-CEO? Hope pipes in, saying she knows Steffi has been awaiting her opportunity to ditch her line. Steffi says she's wrong as she's not cutting the line. What did you think of today's episode? Sound off in the comments. Watch the video clip below and keep checking back for the latest The Bold and the Beautiful recaps. The drama that unfolded on The Bold and the Beautiful today was nothing short of intense, as emotions ran high and characters confronted deep-rooted issues that have lingered for years. At the heart of today's episode was a poignant conversation between Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and her mother, Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lan, which took a surprising turn when Hope questioned Brooke's devotion to her husband, Ridge Forrester, Thorsten K. The dynamic between the two characters, which has always been complex, reached new heights as unresolved feelings and long-standing family tensions came to a head. The episode opened in the Logan family home, with Hope sitting on the couch, a look of concern etched on her face. Her mind was racing, the events of the past weeks clouding her judgment. Brooke had always been the epitome of loyalty to Ridge, at least that was how Hope saw it. But recent events had shaken her faith in her mother's commitment. Ridge's wavering devotion to Brooke, coupled with his constant back and forth between her and Taylor Hayes, Krista Allen, had left Hope wondering if her mother was truly receiving the love and support she deserved. Brooke, sensing the tension in the room, took a seat beside Hope. Her usual radiant smile, the one that could light up a room, was absent, replaced by a weary expression. She had seen the look in Hope's eyes, the one that suggested her daughter had something on her mind, something she had been holding in for far too long. "Mom, can we talk?" Hope asked, her voice softer than usual but heavy with an undercurrent of concern. "Of course, sweetie. You know you can talk to me about anything," Brooke replied, her tone warm but guarded. She knew this conversation would not be an easy one. Hope took a deep breath, the words weighing heavily on her heart. "I've been thinking a lot about you and Ridge lately, about everything that's been going on." Brooke's gaze shifted uneasily. She knew this conversation would not be a simple mother-daughter catch-up, but she wasn't quite prepared for the direction Hope was about to take. "You've been through so much, Mom," Hope continued, her voice tinged with frustration. I know Ridge has his moments. He always does. But I've just been wondering, how much of this is really about him loving you, and how much of it is you holding on to something that maybe isn't there anymore. The words hung in the air, an unexpected jab at the core of Brooke's emotional world. The woman who had been married to Ridge Forrester multiple times, the woman who had shared a passionate, tumultuous relationship with him for decades, was suddenly facing a truth she had been reluctant to confront. Ridge's recent behavior, his undeniable attraction to Taylor, the way he seemed so easily swayed by her presence, had started to create a wedge between them. And yet, Brooke had continued to fight for her marriage, clinging to the hope that things could go back to how they were before the chaos. Brooke said softly, her voice tinged with pain, "Ridge and we've had our struggles, I won't lie, but you know how much I love him. I've always loved him, and I will continue to fight for him, no matter what. He's the love of my life." Hope's face softened slightly, but there was still doubt in her eyes. "But is he still the love of your life, Mom? Or are you just afraid of letting go? I mean, he's been torn between you and Taylor for so long. How many times do we have to go through this cycle before we realize that maybe he doesn't deserve your loyalty? Maybe it's time for you to start thinking about yourself, your happiness." Brooke's expression faltered. Hope's words stung, not because they were untrue, but because they were all too real. How many times had she forgiven Ridge? How many times had she put aside her own needs and desires for the sake of their family, their children, and their marriage? And yet, each time, it seemed like Ridge was pulled back toward Taylor, the woman he had once had a deep connection with, the woman who had always been by his side when things got tough. "I'm not asking you to give up on him, Mom," Hope continued, her voice softer now, a blend of compassion and concern. "But I am asking you to think about what you want, because sometimes it feels like you're giving so much of yourself to Ridge that you don't have anything left for you." Brooke remained silent for a moment, her gaze drifting to the window as she processed her daughter's words. Hope had always been the voice of reason, the one who could see through the chaos of their family dynamics and call it like it was. And right now, Hope was telling her something that she had been unwilling to admit to herself. She had been holding on to a marriage that was no longer fulfilling, a relationship that seemed to have hit a breaking point. "You're right, Hope," Brooke said at last, her voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe I've been holding on too tightly. Maybe I've been so focused on keeping Ridge in my life that I've forgotten to take care of myself. But it's hard, sweetie. It's hard to let go of someone you've loved for so long, someone who means everything to you." Hope nodded understandingly. "I get it, Mom. I do. But you deserve someone who sees you for who you are, who loves you the way you love them. And right now, it doesn't feel like Ridge is that person. Maybe it's time for you to put yourself first for once." Brooke's heart ached of the truth in her daughter's words. She had always been the one to prioritize others, her family, her children, even Ridge. But maybe, just maybe, it was time for her to step back and reevaluate what she needed in her life. The thought of losing Ridge was painful, but the thought of losing herself was even more so. As the conversation came to a close, Hope gave her mother a gentle hug, offering the support and love she had always shown. Brooke's heart felt heavy, but she knew that Hope's words had planted a seed of truth in her mind. Whether she would act on it, however, remained to be seen. One thing was clear though, the road ahead for Brooke Logan was going to be one of self-discovery, and it was time for her to finally face the difficult choices she had been avoiding for far too long. The episode ended with a lingering shot of Brooke, sitting in the quiet of her living room, her thoughts consumed by the conversation with her daughter. The battle between loyalty and self-love, devotion and independence, was far from over, but for the first time in a long while, Brooke was finally beginning to question whether her devotion to Ridge was truly in her best interest. The next chapter in her life was about to begin, and the choices she made in the coming days would define not only her future, but the future of her relationships with Ridge, Taylor, and everyone she loved. As always, The Bold and the Beautiful keeps its audience on the edge of their seats, reminding us that love, loyalty, and self-discovery are never easy, but they are always worth the journey.